Okay, this is Miss Moore back for round 2 of your notes this week. We ended off the last video and I just talked about going to unnecessary qualifiers. If you look on page 78 of your book, down at the bottom it tells you what these mean. Basically, we're trying to streamline our writing to the most clear and succinct sentences we can get. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to have long sentences. It just means that you want to take out what we call qualifiers. If you look on that page, it says qualifiers are words like mostly, often, likely, tends to. These things, we say they overqualify what you're trying to say. You should really just say what you're trying to say rather than trying to emphasize it too much. It becomes redundant and a little bit elementary rather than more sophisticated academic language. So the example there says, I totally and completely agree with the new security measures. Instead, you might want to say just, I agree with. But hey, we're not going to use personal pronouns, so you may even say, the new security measures at sporting events are efficient and effective. Something like that to give it a little bit more authority. Number 4, under revising for voice and style, talks about passive voice. This is on page 79. This is something I'm really going to try and work with you this semester and get you to where you avoid using passive voice. Most of the time we want to avoid it. If you read down at the bottom, there are some strengths of passive voice, but ultimately I want you to look up at the top 2 examples and really try to use active writing. So active voice simply means that whatever your subject of the sentence is, your subject is doing something. The dog runs. The girl reads. You want something to be active rather than the book was read by a girl. That's passive, and you want to try and turn your sentences into active voice. This is something you want to do in the revision stage, so you want to go back and look at how you're writing your sentences and try to make them stronger by using what we call active voice instead of passive voice. So look over that, and if you still have questions, I'd be happy to go over that with you a little bit more. And like I said, I'll be trying to go through that in your essays and mark that. Moving on to paragraph issues, this is the 4th key point for this set of notes that I really wanted you to focus on and look for from the very beginning in this first essay. As you revise, you want to check your paragraphs and make sure that they are both unified and coherent. These 2 words are good words to describe the purpose of paragraphs and what they should reflect. So unity just means, is there one specific focus for that paragraph? You want that paragraph is basically a small essay. So it should have an introduction, should have supporting sentences, and it should have consistent focus throughout. Topic sentence is like your introduction to that paragraph. It's kind of like the headline. That's why I put this clip art out there, is because it's kind of like the headline of the paragraph. What is this paragraph about? And is it focused on one main idea, not going off onto different tangents? Coherence, on the other side of that, means that the paragraph follows basically a timeline or a form or a process, that it goes from the beginning to the end smoothly. And if you need more help on either of these, you've got Unity on page 81, and then Coherence starts on 83. So Some tips they give you is to maybe repeat certain words or ideas to help your paragraph have coherence, to have clear transitions within your paragraph, as well as without, but within your paragraph. And on that note, page 84, I think, has a great chart of different words to use to tie your sentences and your ideas together. So if you feel like you may struggle with that, be sure and have this page open as you revise so that you can look at some of these words and hopefully get some ideas on how to make the flow of your paragraph more coherent. So unity and coherence are two words that I'm going to use to describe paragraphs and label them. You may see on your essay, this paragraph wasn't coherent. And so you can go back here to figure out what that means and hopefully correct those problems. Moving on, all of these ideas are so important, but we're going to move on for time's sake this week. The section on revising collaboratively, even though this is an online class, we're actually going to be doing that with every essay besides this one. So you're going to have to get used to that, and so that section of your chapter will be very helpful in your next essay. But since it's not relevant for this coming essay, I'm going to go ahead and skip it for right now. And move on to editing and proofreading. Quite basically, we're just going from the larger issues to the smaller issues again, and so revising takes care of a lot of the larger issues, editing takes care of kind of some medium-sized problems, and then proofreading looks at the very, very tiny problems. One thing I wanted to point out, a good suggestion that your book gives you is to read your revised writing out loud. This will help you catch some of those little things that maybe you don't see on the paper. When I was a tutor at a writing center, I actually had to make my students read their papers out loud as we went through them, and it was a great practice. I know it sounds a little silly, but I really think it can help you if you read your revised draft out loud. Again, we're going to check the rhetorical situation as always. In editing, we're looking more at the sentence level. We're looking for word choice. We're looking for sentence structure. So I've put this graphic up. Editing is kind of the rearranging on the sentence level. Do I need to make some sentences longer, smaller? More concise, more detailed. And so editing helps us do that, and I think considering your word choice can really help looking for any redundancy, looking for any general terms. One term that I try and tell my students to avoid is the term this or that or thing, these vague nouns that don't really mean anything. Try and replace those with more details and ideas. Combining sentences. This is a really good section on page 93 that goes through how to edit your sentences and look for really making the style of your writing unique. And mostly what I'm going to be looking for is making sure that you're not using the same sentence structure over and over and over. So this gives you some good ideas on how to change up each sentence in a paragraph to make it more exciting and interesting. So please read over those. Those are really good ideas for expanding and combining sentences, editing them, all that good stuff. Again, what I was talking about just a minute ago, I've kind of bolded this section, varying your sentence structures, making sure that each sentence is different and interesting so that your reader, you may not notice it, but the things that are most interesting when you read are usually things that have been pieced together like a puzzle, and the writers really thought about the arrangement of the sentences. I know you didn't think you could think this much about writing, but you can, and so we're going to practice doing that more and more. Of course, you want to avoid using misleading words or offensive words, and you can read over that section. Finally, on proofreading, you just want to check punctuation, mechanical errors. Hopefully your mind tap exercises are helping you learn more about how to do that and more about the rules of punctuation and grammar. On that note, there's also a specific form that I want you to use called MLA style. I know some of you may be a little nervous about that. Really, for most of the class, the only thing that means is that you need to use this header and this header and this style for your paper. It really doesn't mean much more than that until we start adding sources to our papers, and then MLA is going to tell you how to document your sources correctly. But right now, your paper should simply be responding to the quote, responding to the writing process. So really you shouldn't need any outside sources. And so in this paper, what I'll be looking for MLA are all of these requirements mentioned here. The margins, page numbering up here, not the title page, the absence of title page. So instead of a title page, you just have your header up here that has your name, my name, our class, and the date. Then you simply go straight to the title of your paper. Be sure and make it interesting, just a little advice. Don't make it boring. Don't say essay number 1. Go ahead and make it fun and interesting and hopefully related to the paper. Spacing needs to be double spaced throughout. Indent your paragraphs, 0.5, which is the normal on any keyboard. Use 12-point Times New Roman font. And you'll be good. You'll be set for MLA style. This just helps me have all of the papers the same style, and it makes it easier to grade and look at different things. And like I said, when we get to introducing sources into our papers, that's when MLA will really become crucial. I put this website up for you. The Purdue OWL has great resources on MLA style, and then also I posted a page on your week 1, or I think week 2 folder. Okay, so I'm running out of time again, and this will be the last video for this week. I just wanted to leave you, as you look at one writer's process in chapter 8, I wanted to leave you with this quote: if I waited for perfection, I would never write a word. This is so true. We sit and we worry and we pre-write and we outline, but it's hard to just put the pen to paper. And I hope that this week, this will just be an encouragement to you that no writer expects their writing to be perfect the first time. So get out that first draft early this week so that you'll have time to go through and revise and edit and proofread. So go ahead and be working on your rough draft. Let me know if you need help. But don't wait for perfection. Just dive in, start writing out your thoughts. You're ready, you've done a thesis statement, you've done an outline, and so now it's time to write the paper. I'll look forward to hearing your thoughts on these steps of the writing process through MindTap this week, and most of all, look forward to seeing your writing at the end of the week. Good luck writing. Let me know if you need any help, and yeah, have fun writing, and I look forward to reading your papers.